Yeah, definitely does. Yams. Why does body count matter? Oh, you're gone. It definitely does not give you any kind of visual on how they'll treat you or what kind of person they are. That's absolutely not true. You need men, Greg? Greg says he needs men. Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Not bad. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Just got back from work, so it's a pretty good day. Get to relax.
Cool, cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, what you think?
No, I disagree with everything on that on that board.
Which
Yeah.
one do you feel most strongly about?
We can go down the list.
Okay, that's
Okay,
cool.
cool. You said misandry doesn't exist, right? Why do you believe it doesn't exist?
So misandry is a traumatic response that only exists because of misogyny.
Okay, wait, but you just said it doesn't exist, so it does exist.
Well, so the misandry itself doesn't exist. There's a fear of men, but I don't believe that's misandry.
So
So
what
I
is
think what
the
we view as misandry is really just a traumatic response from misogyny. But I don't believe misandry itself actually exists.
wait? But so okay. How would you define misogyny then?
So to oversimplify, I'll say either a hatred, demeaning of women, or some variation thereof.
Okay, and you don't think that women can have a hatred of men or demean men or some variation thereof?
It's possible, but I've never seen
Okay.
it. Even from self-prescribed misandrists, I'll say the more I've gotten to know them, they don't hate men. I really don't believe they actually hate men. Ooh, actually, I really want to get Marleigh's take on this because I'm probably, yeah, she'll be able to do better with this.
Hi, hi.
Hello.
So I think also the difference between misandry and misogyny would be where, like, the dynamic, the power dynamic, and where it like comes from, right? Like misogyny stems from like a societal habit of undermining and demeaning women, where misandry is the reaction to that.
No, I don't even necessarily think or disagree with that. I'm just saying that he just said it doesn't exist, so I'm just confused.
I think in the way that people try to describe it, like I think when people say that misandry is the same thing as misogyny just towards men, I think that that doesn't exist. I think that's true. I don't think that there's just like an inherent um like an inherent belief system that we just like demean men. Like I don't think that that's
Yeah, I think inherent's a good word because yeah, misogyny is kind of built into men, so it's a little different.
right.
Like a
Wait,
lot of us don't even know we have it.
And a lot
okay.
of it, like a lot of the stuff that you have is like like some of it even doesn't come from a bad place, right? Like some of it doesn't even come from like a place of like hating women, but because you're raised by whether it's like a like closer to you like a familial thing or it's just societal, right? Like there's things that that tell men that women are lesser in certain ways, and that can translate to you as I need to protect them, I need to provide for them, I need to care for them because they're, but what it indirectly tells you is that they're incapable of doing it themselves, right? So even though it's a good sentiment, where it comes from is not necessarily actually a positive thing.
Oh, okay. So some of there's like this societal, like this innate society where women are somehow demeaned, and that doesn't exist for men. In some cases, like when we talk about things like mental health and those stereotypes that men can't be DV'd or things like that, or or they look down on as lesser for being in positions where they are DV'd, even though like statistically for um one-sided violent relationships, women are more likely to be the aggressor at a 70% to 30, and even in some, studies. So, and yet society still, after this data has been released, still believe that this is impossible for men, or somehow men are just all around aggressors, and this isn't in any way demeaning men whatsoever.
Well, I think it's a little bit different, right? Because the ideologies that men can't get SA'd or DB'd were like those were instilled in other people by men, right? Men,
But
like men set the standard of image between men and women because men for so long were the only ones with voices. So so men defined how other men should behave, how they should think, and how they should handle these situations, and what is and is not acceptable for other men. Men did that. Women didn't do that. So I think that would again be the difference.
Well, I thought we define misogyny as this inherent a thinking of men by society as less than in certain situations.
Misogyny
And
or misandry?
oh,
That's I guess
sorry, it's all misogyny. Oh, sorry, so misogyny, but the opposite. Yeah, sorry. As us thinking in society that women are less than in certain situations. So if I would think that would be the same in reverse, and we would call that misandry, right?
well that's what I'm saying is that I don't believe that exists, right? I believe that what people look at misandry as, I don't believe is this inherent thing that women have in them, right? I think that it's more so like men created the standard for behaviors and ideologies in society, and then
But
there's a reaction to that. So
but
so
I
the point, so hold on,
disagree with that.
the point you just brought up about like DV and SA with men, who set out the idea that that doesn't happen to men? Other men did that.
Wait. Regardless of who set out the idea, because we can, because okay, but women do have that inherent look in society that men can't be DV'd or whatever,
No,
right?
I would
No,
disagree with that.
because there are studies that have been done about this, right? Even example studies where people would go out into into a societal setting, right, and then we'll have a woman who's like beating on the man in front of a whole bunch of women, right, and then no one says anything. They just walk away, and then
I mean, the
and
same
then
thing
we'll have
happens
the
to women.
same.
Studies show it's more common for other women to step in if a man's being violent and aggressing towards her than other men. So this doesn't really
Well,
tell
no,
us
yeah,
anything about your
no,
point.
yeah. I was getting to that. I was getting to that. So like, so studies also. You're right, and these have also been shown as well. Because in reverse, that's what I was gonna say as well. Wait, I was gonna say in reverse is that when you had the same exact situation in that group of women where it was the man acting like he was about to beat the woman, then the women stepped in, and some of those women were even the same women from earlier who watched the woman like beat on the man, and this shows that this shows that there's an inherent bias towards women being aggressive towards men that's innate towards other women.
Do you have the case study on this? Like, do you have the study that we can look at how they came to this conclusion?
That yeah, sure. Here, so I can set because actually there's an amazing TikToker who talks about this stuff about how violent women are towards men, and she actually has a whole bunch of case studies that you can actually look at and see like
Yeah,
what the
I just want like the name of the study.
yeah, cool. So here, sorry, let me get my computer out because I'm currently in front of my phone.
Just type it in.
So
Wade, if you want, I can make some of those chicken wraps for you too that you can take to work. roll them up in foil.
Yeah.
Like a restaurant style. I want
Yeah.
it out of the microwave.
We do.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you want, I can, like, when I make wraps for David and Stephanie during the day, you know, those chicken wraps that you said you.
What was that? All right, so there's one study that talks about violence in unmarried relationships. This is by the National Library of Medicine. It says physical aggression in unmarried relationships, the role of commonality in construction. There's another one over here, also by the National Library of Medicine, and a review of research of women's use of violence with male intimate partners. You can also look at as well. There's also videos I can send you of people actually doing this demonstration. One of the ones that I look at, which is when I made that determination, right, was actually a video that I watched a while back. So I can find it on YouTube for a second, because it was actually filmed live when this was happening. Let's see. Woman. Reaction. Let's see. It's a social experiment. Let's see. Social experiment. Let's see. I think this is it. This was done like 9 years ago, but it says domestic abuse in public social experiment. You can search that up on YouTube and you'll be able to find it. It's also been done by several different people, where you have people walking into a crowd where they have a man abusing a woman versus a woman abusing a man, and then the crowd's reaction to that. And what you see over and over again is that the woman is protected while the man is ignored by society, whether that is a man or a woman looking at them. So there is an innate bias, I would say, within women to ignore these things.
Is
Do
that
you
what
think that?
Miss
I was
Andrews?
going to say, can you,
think
because
that's-
I'm looking on the National Library of Medicine right now, and I'm looking under like studies about violence in unmarried relationships, and there's nothing gender specific. So that's why I was asking if you could send me the actual name of the study.
Yeah, this is just the review of research on women's use of violence with male partners. This was done. Let's see. That's literally the name in the National Library of Medicine, and it literally talks about this. Let's see. There are other ones as well, which is pretty interesting. I could just send you the link tree, because she has a whole bunch of stuff on here that you can actually look at, which is pretty cool. The name of the person is she's a men's rights activist, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm reading what you are sending me, and this is about self-defense. This is not about women initiating violence.
Tomorrow is when they release the next few.
Look at like studies, what percentage, like when we talk percentage wise, and we look at like different occupational like
Yeah, wait, hold on. I don't want to skip over the fact that you just cited this study like completely disingenuously. This entire study is about women using self-defense and the amount of self-defense reports when it comes to violence in relationships, not just like
No, this. What are you talking about? Okay, what's the abstract? Read the abstract to me, because you might be on two different things. What's the abstract?
hold on. I'm on my phone going back and forth. If I start reading it, you're not gonna be able to hear me. But hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
It's this article provides a research review of women who use.
Find it on this app on the phone.
Or I can read the abstract. This article provides a review of research literature on women who use violence with intimate partners. The central purpose is to inform service providers in the military and civilian communities who work with domestically violent women.
Yeah, read it right after that. Don't be
Yeah.
disingenuous. Read the
Yeah,
first
no.
point.
Let's keep reading all of it. The major point of
Yeah.
the review is about women's violence usually occur in context of violence against them by their male partners. Be in general, women are.
Yes, wait. Don't skip over that part. Hold on.
Yeah,
Don't skip over that part.
I'm not. Women's violence against them by their male partners. In general, women and men perpetrate equivalent violence of physical and psychological aggression, but evidence suggests that men perpetrate sexual abuse, coercive control, and stalking more frequently than women. That women are much more frequently injured during domestic violence altercations. Women and men are equally likely to initiate physical violence, right, in relationships involving less serious situational coupling violence. In the relationship in which serious intimate terrorism occurs, men are much more likely to be perpetrators and women victims. Yeah, this doesn't say anything about self. This is
Wait, did you not just read? Did you not just hear what you read? This disproves your entire point. This is the opposite of what you were saying.
What was my point?
Your point was that women initiate violence more than men. You actually cited the 75. You cited the exact number 75%. And when I went back and looked in the article,
I said 70%.
I'm sorry, 70%. I'm sorry, I just misspoke.
Did you hear? Wait, did you hear what I?
Hold on. Dude, don't get mad because you just got caught being disingenuous.
Wait, no. Did you hear what I said at the beginning? I said that in cases where you have one aggressor, women usually initiate 70% of the violence.
Yeah, that's not what this says. We just read what it says. That's not what this says. The 70% comes in self-defense. It is in self-defense.
No. If it's 70% wouldn't be self-defense because that means you have two aggressors. Like, do you not understand? Like, this study specifically, the one I cited right here, talks specifically about women's violence, right? I said that there have been other studies that showcase that women are more likely to commit even sometimes up to 70% of all violence in case we have one aggressor. First
of all, this is what happens when you just like regurgitate things TikTok are saying. You don't actually do your research. The 70% number you're talking about, okay, is in same-sex couples. That's not what this article says.
No,
I know the statistic you're citing.
Okay, okay.
So towards each other, sure, but overall, men commit
that's
more.
not even the statistic I'm even citing.
Hold on, it says in less. Oh my God. Hold on. Give me 1 second so I can get to my computer so I can actually read this. I don't have to keep going back and forth because this is like super fucking disingenuous.
See if I
No, actually, you can watch it in the theaters at least up until March 30th.
No, I mean, but the theaters.
I remember it, I'm sure. It's only like theaters. Oh, churches have exclusive access to streaming. Yeah. Churches and prisons.
Where that's that?
If you go to the theaters unless you're a church or prison.
So if I go to prison,
This season 4.
so they're telling us if we can go to prison, we can see it.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So apparently season 4 leaves off right before the crucifix. Season 5's going through the life of Christ.
So they already
crucifix,
have-
and the resurrection. Season 6.
Do they have all 6 out already? How many do they have out?
I got 4 completely done. Really basic. I don't know how much they got done. And I know the whole way they're trying to release it all is a money thing. But it's like, right. Yeah, that's a good idea. What they were trying to do is have it all out Holy Week, which is this week. They were supposed to have everything out by tomorrow. But they got stalled because of legal.
I say it, but much as I like the show, I think the director or somebody will probably direct me to me.
Somebody's
Might
sloppy.
be greedy.
Yeah, somebody's getting sloppy.
Yeah. Used to be really easy to access.
Right, now all of a
But now
sudden,
that everybody
because
knows it,
everybody loves it, everybody's
Everybody-
waiting.
yeah. now it's
Now they think they're
Yeah.
Hollywood, whoever's
or
right.
somebody in the
Yeah,
somebody's
somebody
disagreeing.
writing it is
Hey, liberal.
Yeah.
right.
So
There's just a lot of background noise. If you could just mute for 1 second, I'm just gonna read this abstract. So the abstract said, this article provides a review of research literature on women who use violence with intimate partners. The central purpose is to inform service providers in military and civilian communities who work with domestically violent women. The major points of this review are as follows. A. Women's violence usually occurs in the context of violence against them by their male partners. So it's occurring in a context of violence against them. That's when women's violence usually occurs. That's the first point of this article. The second point is, in general, women and men perpetuate equivalent levels of physical and psychological aggression, but evidence suggests that men perpetuate sexual abuse, coercive control, and stalking more frequently than women, and that women are much more frequently injured during domestic violence incidents. So that would suggest that if there is an initiator, depending on the context, it's equally initiated. So far we don't have anything that says women initiate more. Women and men are equally likely to initiate physical violence in relationships involving less serious situational couple violence. And in relationships in which serious and very violent intimate terrorism occurs, men are much more likely to be the perpetrators and women victims. So that's another thing that says in those situations where men initiate more than women. Women's physical violence is more likely than men's violence to be motivated by self-defense and fear, whereas men's physical violence is more likely than women's to be driven by control motives. Studies of couples and mutually violent relationships find more negative effects for women than for men. Because of the many differences in behaviors and motivations between women's and men's violence, interventions based on a male models of partner violence are likely not effective for many women. So this study absolutely does not prove the point that women initiate domestic violence more than men. That's just the abstract.
I know.
Okay, so why did you make that claim in the beginning of this argument? Why
Could you
did you
please
use
hear me?
this article to support that claim? Because your entire point was that even though women initiate domestic violence more than men, we still tell men that they can't be victims of it. And then you cited this exact article, which proves the actual opposite of what you're saying.
Well, actually, I cited two different articles that talk
Why did
about
you
how
cite this
violent
one?
women are. Okay, well, you'll understand if you keep reading.
Well, you told me to look at the abstract. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
abstract. Okay, so this is a summary of the article we're about to look at. So I mean, I can keep reading, sure, but you're making this claim. It's your job to support your claim. So I'm asking you, why did you use this article to support your claim?
Because when you look at so if you look down into let's see. So if you look down the abstract, right, it goes and breaks down aggression. It breaks down different things like that, and which one are more likely to happen when it comes to men versus women. And all these numbers, the women's numbers are higher than the males' numbers. Like, for example, 12.4% from wives self-report that they have used violence against their husbands compared to 11.6%. Furthermore, 4.8% of wives compared to used severe violence against their husbands, wherever 4.3% reports using severe violence, right? This goes down, and every single number that you look at, the women number is a lot higher, or higher at least, than the men's number.
Hold on, but this doesn't tell us.
I
This
said this was
doesn't.
one of the two. They said this was one of the two articles that I cited.
Yeah. Wait, no. You can't just
Yeah.
use that to deflect off of this article.
No, the
Because if
reason
you're
why I
gonna
cited
cite
this, no, I know.
sources, and if you're gonna
No,
use
the reason
articles,
why
we're
I
gonna
cited
dissect
this
them.
article
Otherwise,
specifically
again, you're just
is
being
because
disingenuous.
no, the reason why I cited this article specifically, right? Because I said a couple things. Right? The reason why I cited this article specifically is because when you look at the numbers that are being shown in the case when they evaluate men versus women in this article, the women's numbers are higher than the men's numbers.
Okay, so again, if we look at those numbers and what those numbers mean in the context of those numbers, then like that's important. That's why I said, can we look at the article and how they did these studies and what the conclusions they actually came to? Because the conclusions that they came to, right, are what the abstract is. So after the people who did this research study wrote this article, and by the way, actually, this is an article. This isn't even the study itself, which is what I really wanted to look at. But I'll take an article, just for the sake of time. Right, when we look at the conclusion that the people who wrote this article drew, right, it doesn't align with your claim. So when you're saying, oh, these numbers are higher, that obviously is going to raise the question for me, well, what is what do these numbers mean? What were they in regard to? That first thing, the prevalence of women's perpetration of different types of abusive behaviors, says how prevalent is women's intimate partner violence in the United States? How does it compare to the prevalence of men's? This is just the amount of women who have self-reported using violence in relationships. It does not tell us why they used violence. It does not tell us if it was self-defense. It does not tell us if it was, it doesn't tell us if it was like for the purpose of control. It does not tell us any of that. It just tells us that, and it's almost the same rate, by the way. It's 12.4% to 11.6%, which at the end of this, they acknowledge that it's similar rates of physical, right? So that was the point of this, that it's similar, but this is self-reported. That doesn't take into account the people who don't self-report it, and that doesn't take into account why the violence is occurring. So that first paragraph does not prove your point.
Again, I said this was one of a couple articles that I cited.
Yeah, but that doesn't, here's the thing though, right? If I'm going to sit here and debate with you, I want to know that I'm debating with a good faith person, right? And you, hold on. I'm not done talking. I want to know that I'm debating with a good faith person. So if you're going to sit there and start citing articles, which by the way, you fully twisted, you cherry picked one sentence out of this entire article to try to prove your claim. Right. And it's super, it's transparent what you did. Like I saw obviously right through it, reading this article, this is the most disingenuous example of spreading misinformation that I have ever heard in my entire life, because you cited an article from the National Library of Medicine and misrepresented the article to prove your claim.
First of all, I cited several different articles that showcase that women
I
commit.
asked you, I was like,
Wait,
okay, can you brought this one up specifically, and I asked
I
you for
brought
what the name of it
multiple
was.
up.
You didn't give me specific other names of any other ones. The first one I wanted to know was the one you were talking about, which was this one, and you cited this one. So you're not going to sit there. It doesn't matter if you cited 5 articles. If the first one you bring to my attention to prove to your claim, you're misrepresenting. I don't really
First
care
of all,
about the rest of them because
first
you're a
of all,
bad faith debater.
okay, two things. First of all, the first article I cited was physical aggression, unmarried relationships. So that's incorrect. The
No, that's
second
not
thing
true. That's
that is
absolutely not true.
we can
The
go back.
first
Wait,
article
time out.
I asked you for
Wait,
the
wait,
name of it
wait,
several times. I
wait,
said,
wait,
what
wait,
is the
wait,
name
wait,
of it?
wait,
What is the
wait,
name of it?
wait.
And you were
Let
using the
wait.
sentence,
Can we
which,
rewind
by
the
the way,
tape?
if you Google this, you use the one sentence that, like, if you search
Yeah,
something, yeah,
I
Google will
said
cherry pick quotes. And then if you actually go into the paragraph, that's not what it's saying. So that, again, that tells me that you just either didn't do your research, but it sounds like you did if you have all these articles, which is why I said this is why you shouldn't just listen to what other TikTokers regurgitate, which it sounds like, that's what it sounds like to me you did. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there that you're not just intentionally misrepresenting an article.
okay,
But
okay.
this is
Two
like
things.
a really
Okay.
gross
Two things. Two things. First of all,
example of
for,
like misinformation.
okay, two things. First of all, I didn't misrepresent the article. All
You
right.
did.
I
You
looked
did.
at I told you in this
We
article.
just read it word for word
Wait,
together. We read
okay,
it word
okay.
for word together.
And I
You
told
absolutely did.
time
And you
out.
cannot get
What
around
wait,
this, by the way. I'm not going to just let you like pivot away from it onto other articles that might prove your point instead.
I'm not even pivoting. I'm on the same article. I said that the reason why I use this article because you look at it and if you read through the entire article, it showcases that that there were several different studies even referenced in this article that showcase women are more violent than men. Like for example, in a large study, and the Navy recruits 1,300 men and 1,477 women.
Okay, wait, I don't, hold on. Where are we in the article? Where are we in the article? Where are we in the article? Because you've misread and you literally, no, I'm sorry. I want to know where, I want to read along with you to make sure you're actually reading the right thing.
This is previous rates from studies of military personnel. If
Is
you
this a new
scroll
article
down,
or is this the same article?
this is the same article. Scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down. You'll see previous rates for studies of military personnel, right?
Prevalence rates from studies of not previous prevalence rates from studies of military personnel.
Prevalence rates from studies from military personnel and you scroll down and it says in a large study of Navy recruits 1,307 men and 1,477 women, 32% of men and 47% of women were reported using some form of physical aggression against an intimate partner in the past year.
Studies of intimate, hold on, I'm reading it because I want to make sure. Studies of intimate partner violence conducted with military populations suggest that the prevalence of partner abuse may be somewhat higher than in civilian populations. Heyman in 1999 conducted a careful comparison of the prevalence rates between a sample of 33,000 active duty Army personnel, 6,000 participants in the National Family Violence Survey. Correcting for demographic differences between the samples, they found no differences in male perpetration of moderate violence between the samples. 10.8% Army sample reported that they committed moderate spousal violence to 9.9% of the male sample. However, rates of severe violence were significantly higher in the military sample. 2.5% of the male Army sample reported that they committed severe compared to land sample regarding women's perpetration of abusive behavior. The prevalence of moderate significantly higher in the military. 13% of women already reported they committed moderate violence compared to the 10% of civilian women, and 4.4% of the women in the Army reported they committed severe violence compared to the 2% of civilian women. Okay, so what this is telling us is that in cases of military personnel, hold on, I'm just still reading. Hold on. Let me read it because you already misrepresented the first.
I'm waiting.
Wait, don't start acting like fucking like you didn't totally just like.
No, because I didn't. I told you earlier. Wait. I think I told you earlier, right? The reason
you
why I pointed at this article, and I'll say it again, is because if you read downwards, you'll see that every time they compare male numbers to female numbers, the female numbers are higher.
Hold on. Did you not hear what I just said before this? And did you not read the beginning of, like, did you not listen to the beginning of what we discussed in this conversation?
Yeah,
Are you
I
listening?
heard
Okay,
what
can you
I
actually
heard what
repeat
you
back to me what
I
I
heard
said?
what
Because I
you
don't believe
said.
you. I don't believe that you actually.
You said that just because it shows that these number differences doesn't tell you why the violence is occurring or what's going on when it comes to the violence. And then you said that's pretty much what you said. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it says in the beginning of the article, it acknowledges that it's higher in
Oh.
cases of self-defense. So when we're looking at the numbers, it's not telling us which cases these are, which is the issue that I have with articles instead of looking at the actual studies themselves, which is why I asked you for the case study. And I actually specifically said not an article. And right under that is women's violence usually occurs in the context of violence against them by their male partners. So that's literally right beneath this. So the only thing that this article tells us is that for some reason in relationships regarding military personnel, and it doesn't even tell us if women perpetuate violence at a higher rate. It just says that there is a higher rate of violence.
Yeah, versus their male counterparts. That's crazy.
No, I agree that's crazy, but again, it doesn't tell us anything about it.
No, oh yeah, no, you're right. Just because we see all these different stats that show that there are higher rates of violence in women, versus the men doesn't tell us anything.
Yeah, wait. If I tell you 50% of women commit violence and 10% of men commit violence, okay? And then it's like, okay, like just looking at the numbers, sure, women commit more violence. And then if I tell you that 100% of the violence committed by women is in self-defense and only 1% of the violence committed by men is in self-defense, that changes the way that statistic reads, doesn't it? So don't act fucking smug. Like,
yeah, but we know that that's not true though. That 100%.
no, actually, that's what this article says. By the way, that is what this article says. It literally, if you want to keep reading, wait. If you want to keep reading, no. If you would like to keep reading, because if you would like to keep reading the like titles in the article, the one directly below the one you were just so proud of that again doesn't tell us anything, is that women's violence usually occurs in the context of violence against them by their male partners, which is also what the abstract that you told me to read to you, which I guess you had never read before, also reiterates, and then the first paragraph of this article also reiterates. So, I don't know, maybe read the article next time before you bring it up.
Again, the reason why I brought up this article is to showcase that there are higher numbers when you compare men to women, right? Again, I brought up several different articles, I named several different ones. This wasn't even the first one.
You did not name several different ones.
I did name several different ones.
This is why I don't waste my time with people who are disingenuous, because you're just going back and walking back what you said, and you're lying about it. Because I asked you multiple times. I asked you multiple times for a title, and then you had to Google it because you couldn't remember.
I told you I needed to look on my computer, and then I gave you two different titles. Like what is like
No, you didn't. The types of violence women commit differ from men's violence. Women's commission of different types of violence and their experiences of violence from their male partners were examined in two studies, Swan and Snow 2002, Swan 2005. Participants in both studies were women who used violence against an intimate male partner. The studies found consistent results. Women and their partners used equivalent levels of psychological aggression. Women used higher levels of moderate physical violence than their partners used against them, and about the same level of severe physical violence. However, women were about 1.5% times more likely to experience coercive control as they were to be coercively controlling.
Wait. Read the lines you said before that.
Yes. Hold on. Wait, because it matters. The context matters. Context matters. The context matters.
I know. Read the lines to be said before that.
I will. No, I will. I'm not you. I'm not disingenuous. I can go back and read things. It's fine.
Okay,
Similarly, women were 2.5% more likely to be sexually coerced than they
No, no, no,
were
no, not that one.
hold on, than they were no, I'm going to read the whole thing. Unlike
Oh,
you,
okay.
your
Oh,
problem
okay,
is you didn't,
okay, okay.
your problem, the reason
Okay,
you look
sure.
like a fucking idiot right now is because you didn't read
Uh-huh.
the entire thing. And I'm
Uh-huh.
reading the whole thing because I want a
Uh-huh.
clear picture of the evidence and the statistics that I'm looking at before I just throw them out in a fucking debate and then look stupid because I didn't read the article, which is what you did.
No, it's not. But okay,
Yes,
keep
no,
going.
it is. That's why your voice is shaking
Uh,
and you're nervous. Anyway,
my voice
similarly,
is
women were 2.5% more likely to be sexually coerced than they were to use sexual coercion against their partners, and women were 1.5% more likely to be injured than they were to injure their partners. Similar results were found in Stewart 2006. Oh my God, get out of the way, tab. A study of 87 women participating in a court-mandated domestic violence intervention program also found that women experienced stalking from their partners significantly more often than committed stalking behaviors themselves. While Swan 2005 found that women reported using equivalent levels of severe violence compared to what their partners used against them, Temple found that women's violence was less severe than their partners' violence against them, even in relationships in which the women were primary aggressors. Taken together, these studies suggest that the types of violence women and men commit differ, even in relationships in which both partners use violence.
Wait, but you didn't read what I said. Just read what the
Yeah,
next
wait,
one.
no. What we're not
Why?
going to do is cherry pick.
Why? Wait,
I can
why
read
didn't
it.
you?
Hold on. Yes, wait. The one you want me to read so fucking
Okay.
badly because you're stupid and you don't know how to read an
Okay, go
article.
ahead. Go
The
ahead.
studies found inconsistent. Women use higher levels of moderate physical violence than their partners use against them, and about the same level of severe physical violence.
Wait, so again, so they used higher levels of moderate physical violence and about the same levels of severe
Right.
violence.
And hold on, wait. The reason,
Mm.
because
Mm-hmm.
they're different. By the way, they're differentiating here physical violence and sexual violence.
Did it say sexual violence, or what did it say? Moderate violence, right?
Right. So the sentence,
Cool.
this is why the sentence after that matters. However, women were about 1.5% times more likely to experience coercive control as they were to be coercively controlling. Similarly, women were 2.5% times more likely to be sexually coerced than they were to use sexual coercion against their partners. So what does that tell you about the dynamics of the relationships? Is he gone? Wait, liberal, are you still there? Damn, he fucking ran. That's crazy. All right, well, I think host stepped away and the guest ran. So that was bro, imagine you citing the one, this is the one sentence that he wanted me to keep reading, is the one sentence he cited from this article, which it does say that women are more likely to commit, what is it? Or hold on, women, what does it say? Right, I just lost studies found because the results women and their partners equivalent. It's like, okay, women use higher levels of moderate physical violence than their partners used against them, and about the same level of severe physical violence. So they use it, they don't necessarily initiate it. And by the way, the whole paragraph before this was about how women's violence occurs in the context of violence being committed against them. Right? So if you're being sexually coerced, if you're being physically aggressed upon, not physically, sorry, psychologically aggressed upon, right? Majority of this is occurring in self-defense. So if it's higher, right, it's a higher rate in the context of self-defense. That's what this entire fucking article says. And because you cherry picked the one sentence that doesn't make any sense outside of this, you got caught up being wrong. Violence has something to do with the topics? No, I agree. Violence, well, we got here from the topics. We were originally talking about the topics, jump scare chest. We were talking about misandry and misogyny. And I think the point that the guest was trying to make was that he basically made the claim that society tells men that they can't be victims of DV, even though women initiate DV more than men. So I wanted him to support that claim. And this was the article. He didn't ever give me the titles of the other articles. He said there were other articles. He actually cited a TikToker, which is where he got these articles from. DV is in domestic violence. We can't really say those words because then otherwise like the live gets bananaed. But he cited this article, and I'm assuming either the TikToker that he got it from just showed that sentence, or Google just showed him that sentence, because the entire rest of the article talks about self-defense. And yeah, so this was like, and then he even pointed me to read the abstract and tried to not read the points of the abstract. So the first sentence of the abstract is, this article provides a review of research literature on women who use violence with intimate partners. The central purpose is to inform service providers in the military and civilian communities who work with domestically violent women. And then he didn't want me to read after that. And so I wanted to read after that. And the first point is women's violence. The point drawn from this article, these studies, is women's violence usually occurs in the context of violence against them by their male partners. That's the first point of the study. And then the study does say, in general, women and men perpetuate equivalent levels of physical violence and psychological aggression, but evidence suggests that men perpetrate sexual abuse, coercive control, and stalking more frequently than women, and that women are also much more frequently injured during domestic violence incidents. Women and men are equally likely to initiate physical violence in relationships involving less serious situational couple violence. And in relationships in which serious and very violent intimate terrorism occurs, men are much more likely to be the perpetrators and women victims. So all this article tells us is that in less serious situations, in less serious demonstrations of physical violence, the rates are about equal. And then in almost every other measure, men perpetrate more and more severely. So and here's the thing, like, I have the utmost sympathy for men who experience DV. I am not someone who would ever tell a man that he can't be a victim of DV. I have seen examples of it. It absolutely occurs. I think to tell a man he can't be a victim of that is absolutely disgusting. But I think to come up here and cite a source, to cite an article from the National Library of Medicine and purposely misrepresent it to try to bend to your point is also kind of fucking disgusting. And it doesn't help your cause, because we can support men who are victims of DV without doing that. Anyways, being a man myself, I don't get why. Being a man myself, I don't get why they're just gonna listen. People are sick. I don't know why some people resort to physical violence so frequently. And I even brought up a statistic that in DV cases, women are more likely to use violence in same-sex couples. Like, there's more DV in same-sex couples amongst women than in heterosexual couples or same-sex couples for men. So we do know that in those cases, women do demonstrate violence more. And that was a point that I brought up for him that we could have absolutely talked about, but for some reason he didn't want to talk about that. Like, I will never sit here and deny that women can abuse men. I've seen women be disgusting and abusive to men, and it's definitely a topic that needs to be talked about. But the way that he just tried to do this was super fucking disingenuous and bad faith. So, that being said, I'm gonna hop off now because I think the host took a little break, and our guest left, and I can't tell if anyone else has requested. But I'll see you guys later.